Bitcoin put in a $6,000 swing low to a target to the downside that we had from yesterday's video. Right now, Bitcoin trading at an incredibly crucial area on the micro and macro charts. And in this video, I want to break down exactly what you need to be prepared for in the hours ahead. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe and like on the way in. I truly appreciate it, everybody. Let's jump into this Bitcoin video. Look, this chart looks crazy. There are lines everywhere. Please do not be intimidated by this. I will break it down for you very simply, and it's all going to make sense. I want to really discuss what's transpiring for Bitcoin right now. It's very important, and I want to start with this clip from yesterday's video. If Bitcoin sees resistance here, we have a potential head and shoulders in play, right? And you can just see that on the chart. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Breakout target is kind of right around 29,000, in the higher 29,000 area. And it's very confluent with the breakout target to the downside of this rising channel, which would be right around $30,000. Notice, this is also the lower trend line of the ascending broadening wedge. It would just be such a simple move, consolidation pattern. Everybody, look what transpired, and let's start breaking this down and dissecting this. Now, here is, and I'm going to zoom out just a little to really just show you what's happening on the screen, because I know it's crazy, but it's important. This is the upper trend line right here of that ascending broadening wedge. Here's the lower trend line of that ascending broadening wedge. Here, this white line is the neckline of the potential head and shoulders that we talked about in that clip from yesterday, right? And it formed almost perfectly. And you can just see left shoulder, head. Here's that right shoulder to resistance. I did the video right around here at the Fibonacci resistance, came back down, kind of tested that neckline a little and fell through. Now, what transpired is Bitcoin hit the inverse head and shoulders target, right? It was right down here. That was the target of that inverse head and shoulders. And it also hits the breakout targets of this channel right here. And that is that white line coming down. There's the breakout target to the downside for that white channel. The inverse head and shoulders was actually just below it. I don't have it charted here, but it's just below it in the 29,000s. Bitcoin hit both targets. You can just see it happened. It's right there. And not only that, it wasn't only a few $1,000 move to the downside. It was actually, there was very quick capitulation on this hourly chart to the 27,000s. And this isn't the only hourly chart where you have a wick like that. I mean, this is Bitstamp. What we're using is Coinbase, but it happened. $6,000 swing low, everybody. A $6,000 move for Bitcoin. The 33,000s to the 27,000s. Now, what is good, temporarily good, I should say, is right now, Bitcoin, you can see, quickly closed the hourly candles right around this lower trend line. And that's what we were looking for, just support at that confluent area, the lower trend line and also the breakout target of this rising channel that we were tracking, right? So that is what's transpired. And I know there's a lot of lines going on there, but they're all so important in their own way. And so that's why we have them charted. Now, it probably doesn't help that I have these purple lines on the screen, but that is Bitcoin every $1,000 move that it's been making to the upside. And the reason I'm leaving that there is because it provides a lot of underlying technical context to what Bitcoin really has been doing since it took off through $20,000. And zooming out on the chart, I've talked about this. We need to allow room, because Bitcoin has a lot of room with all of these all-time highs, for consolidation, even if it's quick capitulation. And this is what's been transpiring for Bitcoin, these areas of consolidation, these quick swing lows, and we just got one, and we've been anticipating something similar to this. Now, in a couple minutes, we're going to look at the hourly chart without all the lines so we can get a good idea of potential next move for Bitcoin. But I want to go to the daily chart because something is transpiring there too, kind of on a macro level. This is that upper trend line that we've been talking about probably for weeks now, and we've been doing a lot of comparisons to what we had back in the spring and summer of 2019. Look at the move, the similarity. Spring and summer 2019, 200+% swing high over the course, and this is a daily chart, touching that upper trend line, consolidating, and ultimately kind of going to lower lows. And now this time around, very similar, Bitcoin test this upper trend line, what we've been watching, and this is a huge confirmation, and I just did a video on this, can Bitcoin defy the odds and not see resistance at this upper trend line and keep putting in higher highs and higher lows? That would be the truest sign to me, I think, in terms of indicators that Bitcoin truly is just on this brand new path because of the supply shock happening, and it's still in play. And the reason being is this. If we go to this weekly chart, now I'm zoomed out and we have both moves on the screen, right? This is spring and summer 2019. Here's most recently. Now, if you just notice, when Bitcoin was getting this swing high at this upper trend line here, back then, just look at, and let me remove this so you can see it a little better. Look at the wick on that weekly. Obviously, no buying pressure. There was no bullish momentum in terms of what Bitcoin was doing. Bitcoin just stalled out at that upper trend line, and you can just see it very clearly on the screen. Now, if we compare the current move of Bitcoin, right, very similar, but what's happening? There just seems to be the sense of bullish momentum, right? Right now, obviously on the weekly chart, we're getting some consolidation. That's what it looks like on a weekly. This is what it looks like on an hourly, the consolidation. But on a weekly, this is what it looks like. It's a red candle, but there's still upward buying pressure. That capitulation to the 27,000s, look at that. Look at that recovery. And it happened not in the matter of like a 6-hour candle. It happened in a very quick 1-hour candle. The dip was bought, everybody. And that is what is transpiring. These dips that Bitcoin is going into are being bought up so quickly. It's almost, if you're looking to buy $7,000 dips, it's almost very difficult to do so because you have to be glued to your screen unless you have buy orders in place. So what is happening? What am I looking for in the short term? My biggest concern here is this, and I'll talk about the inverse of my concern. But my biggest concern is this: Bitcoin is on this new trajectory, at least in the short term, of lower lows and lower highs, and potentially putting in just this reversal, right? And if you go over to this daily chart, this might be the beginning of a deeper consolidation into all of this padding that we have. Remember, this is extremely bullish. We have so much overextension from the bull market doors down here. We have room for like consolidation. We have room for a pretty red week or a couple weeks for consolidation to the downside before continuation to the upside. That's good. And this could be the very beginning of that happening. It's not ultimately. We have some things we need to watch for. Bitcoin can very well keep going to the upside, but this is what will define it right here on this chart. We have a couple areas that I'm watching. The swing high that Bitcoin put in, just yesterday, right, 34,000 plus, to that crazy capitulation swing low. We have a resistance area Bitcoin testing right now, and it's a very important area to watch on the Bitcoin charts. This is right around $32,100 to around $33,300. Resistance. Can Bitcoin break above? If it does, and especially if we get hourly closes above that area, Bitcoin very well onto this new next level, next stage. We talked about a $40,000 target in yesterday's video. It's just in play, and that is what you want to see. But to the downside, if Bitcoin sees resistance at this level, we could be kind of on our way down to testing a very key Fibonacci support area. This could determine the true trajectory of Bitcoin in the short term. That is this crazy swing low to the potential for just this current swing high. It's too early to tell if this is the true swing high. Bitcoin can very well continue to test this area, this resistance area that we talked about. But if this is a swing high, this Fibonacci swing low to swing high, right back down to this support area now, Fibonacci support, which is around 29,400 to right around 28,600. That is support. Bitcoin has room to the downside to kind of keep coming down for the short term. I wouldn't be too concerned unless that fails. Price range wise, that would be Bitcoin to the downside today, tomorrow, whatever, but most likely in the hours ahead, a 6% to like 8% move for Bitcoin to test that support. If that fails, everybody, it's time to just start anticipating these new lows going into the mid 20,000s for Bitcoin. Ultimately, that doesn't even concern me. this would just be a consolidation for Bitcoin over here on a chart like this, a consolidation just into this area, forming some new structure on a more midterm chart, which is very healthy. It could be explosive out of some type of setup for Bitcoin. What if we get a symmetrical triangle of some sort going into the next couple of weeks of January, and Bitcoin has a breakout target into the 40,000s? That could be that next move. But listen, we're not there yet. Hourly chart, if Bitcoin can break this resistance that we just talked about, the Fibonacci resistance, which is the swing high down to the swing low, back up, which the move is currently, just failed at. But if Bitcoin can break through that area, very bullish for Bitcoin, 32,000, what do we say? Right around $32,100, $200 to $33,300. So that's what I'm watching on Bitcoin charts. But everybody, we hit the targets on this hourly chart, really a couple targets, and in the process capitulated on the hourly. And it's just crazy to see this. But we have support right now. We have support at that lower trend line of the ascending broadening wedge. I want to point this out actually real quick. On this hourly chart, this yellow line, right, where Bitcoin did break above, but right now seeing resistance confluence with this Fibonacci resistance that we're just talking about, that yellow line on the daily chart is this long-term upper trend line that we've been watching. So be very careful right now. A lot of resistance for Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. Keep an eye on altcoins. Maybe they might just give a hint if they continue going up, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Keep an eye on that to see. Could be a hint for Bitcoin, what's in store. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin today. This is what I'll be watching on the hourly chart. We'll do an update if we get some type of crazy big move. In the meantime, everybody, hit this subscribe, turn those notifications on. I appreciate you. Hit that like on the way out. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.